Good morning, everyone. We will start our lecture today. I will start with today the lecture on SVM as I told. Okay. Can you see my PPT? Okay, very good. See friends, I will start with basics of support vector machine. I will start with basics of support vector machine. Okay. See, these are my objects. You can see on this side, left side, these are my objects. So these objects can be customers. These objects can be utility items. These objects can be banks. These objects can be images. These objects can be plants, animals, whatever it may be. So these are the group of objects. Now, if you see these group of objects, you will find that these group of objects have different colors. Their sizes are different. That means what? Their characteristics are different. Their properties are different. And so you can see a very large volume of objects with different properties. And when we have such a large volume of objects with varying properties, then it is very difficult to study. Because in statistics, we know that when you have an heterogeneous population, we go for stratification. And the stratification ensures a kind of a homogeneity between subgroups. So here also, hello. So here you have a what you call heterogeneous kind of objects. And I told you that these objects are of different types. Maybe banks, maybe plants, maybe animals, maybe insects, maybe flying birds, maybe water samples, maybe blood samples, maybe humans, maybe images, maybe rocks, whatever it may be. And when we have a big volume of objects with varying characteristics, varying properties, varying features, then it is difficult to study them. And so problem is to classify them, to separate them with respect to their certain characteristics. Now, when many more characteristics are different, then I think studying all characteristics at a time is very difficult. And so we start with a simple thing, that let us start with single characteristics and find out Make a distinction between the objects that have distinct features, single feature. If you see the right side, you will find that this is a one group of objects, pebbles. You can see, even though their sizes are different, but color wise they are same. So property of color is same. Here also size wise they are different, but color wise they are more or less same. Color wise these are more or less same. That means this huge volume of pebbles, objects with varying characteristics are separated into number of groups, and each group have one characteristic common in all. That is called the classification. So we have a problem of classification. Okay, we have a problem of classification. Let us see what are the different classifiers. What are the different approaches of classification? There are many approaches. I am listing here few of them. Number one, linear discriminant classifier, support vector machine, logistic regression, nearest neighborhood method, Bayes classifier, and random forest. There are of course many more, but these are the different approaches of classifying the objects. Every approach has its own speciality. Every approach has certain limitations also. So we have to understood each and every method of classification properly, right? Okay. Now, see this. I am showing you this image. You can see in this image number of data points. Actually, this is the data from iris flowers. This is the data of 150 flowers. You know that there are 4 features, but for the sake of convenience, I have taken only 2 features. Number one, sepal length and sepal width. So based on bivariate data, I have plotted a scatter plot. And in this scatter plot, you can see that this is the group of objects. This is the group of iris flowers. Seems to be distinct than this. So a clear-cut distinction between 2 groups we are observing here. But that is only based on 2 features. In fact, we have more data. But let us start with bivariate data. Now, when we say we want to classify, that means what? We want a certain criteria. By that criteria, we can say that this object belongs to this class, this object belongs to this class. So in order to put the object in hand in either class 1 or class 2, in class 2 or class 3, in class 1 or in class 3, we need certain criteria. For example, a student with 70% or more marks will be placed in a group of first class with distinction. A student with 60 to 70% marks is placed in a group of first class. A student securing less than 40 marks will be placed in a group of fail class. So we have criteria. That is the cutoff point. That is the cutoff point. Less than 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 and above. These are the cutoff points. Greater than that, less than that will give you the idea that how they will be placed in certain groups. So that is our basic requirement. We need a criteria. Now, mathematically speaking, criteria means what? We need a condition. That condition may be type less than or equal to. That condition may be greater than or equal to. That condition may be equal to. That condition may be in between. But we want to convert the concept of criteria in terms of mathematical condition. So see here, I have one group here. This is I have another group. Now I want to make certain condition, means I want certain separator here. Certain separator is here. Now this separator, mathematically speaking, is a single line. A separator may be any function fx that makes the separation between the two objects. And we will say then that objects on one side will be placed in one group, objects on other side will be placed on other group. So that is a simple thing. So for given x, f of x less than or less than certain value, for given x, f of x greater than certain value, that will be our criteria of classification. So see, I have drawn this as some kind of a curve. Now defining such a type of curve, mathematically, it is a complex kind of a function. If you see quadratic function, it is something like x square type, cubic function, fourth power function, polynomial function, trigonometric function, exponential function, logarithmic functions. These are all curve type of functions. If you can combine them together with appropriate coefficients, you will get still more complicated function. So this is one. Okay, I have placed this another function, and you can see that in this function some points are entered in this group also. Here some point from this group falls in this group also. That means what? While designing a criteria, there are chances that objects from one group may be wrongly placed in second group, and objects from second group may wrongly be placed in first group. That is very much similar to what is called as our type 1 error and type 2 error. That we call here as a misclassification. Misclassification. So we have to take care of such a misclassification while designing a separator function, right? Okay. Now let us see. Now instead of going for a complicated curvature type function, I will think of a linear function. That means I will think of a straight line type of a separator. If you see, this is a separator. I think this is not at all a separator, because all objects falls to the right side of this line, and so there is no separation between the objects. So this kind of separator is the worst separator. If you see this, you will find that all objects are to the left side of this separator, and so this separator is also the most worst separator. So we want a separator in between. So let us see. See, you can have this kind. This is a separator. This is also a separator. If you see this separator makes the distinction between two kinds of objects. This separator also makes the distinction between two kinds of objects. But still, there are some demerits of this separator. For example, if you take this separator, you will find that objects from this side are quite away from this separator, whereas objects from this group are much more close to this. In particular, if you see this point has high chance of coming to this side also. And so on this side, objects from this left side may have a chance to be wrongly placed in second side. Such a chance is not here, or maybe it is very less. If you see other way around this separator, you will find that objects from this part are quite away from the separator, but objects on this side are much more close to this separator. And that is why while classification, the chance of these objects may go to this side is much more as compared to the chance of these objects coming to this side. So we are very much close to the idea, but still then these two separators will not be properly established. So let us come next to. Okay. Now let us see this separator. If you see this separator, this separator is quite distinct from these objects and from these objects also. Right? If I say this point, 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 you'll find that these points are quite away from the separator. And therefore, there is very less chance that these objects will be wrongly placed. We have to take care of the points close to, this. Okay, we have to take care of these points because they have a chance of misclassification. Right? Okay. Now, this is the most important thing we must understand. This is my separator. This black line is my separator. There are two red lines I have drawn here. Now, this red line is passing through this point, which is most close to this separator. That means, mathematically speaking, distance of this point from separating line is minimum. On the other way also, I have taken another line, red line, that will be passing through these 2 points. And these 2 points have property that they are highly close to the separator. Now, I want a straight line that will make almost same distance to both sides, or I want a line that will make the maximum distance between the points from both the sides. So that is why this point is called as support vector. This point is also called as support vector, and with the help of this we have to arrange our mathematical model that will give the separation. So this is the logic. In regression analysis, the idea is the minimum distance, minimum error, minimum residual. Whereas here, the idea is all points are highly away from the separating line. So it's exactly a contrast. So it's a mathematical derivation I will see in tomorrow's lecture. Today, you try to understand the mathematics behind this. This is video I have recorded. I will post it to you also. You can listen this video also. Thank you very much.